Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Danny's Life and Travel, and today we're going to be talking again about AMD. It's going to be another update, another quick update I hope, because I'm trying to make these videos shorter and compressed and give you all the information as quickly as possible. So let's get on with it. So firstly, I did expect it to be a quiet week. I knew there was 2 weeks, so there was this week and next week with no new information as far as I knew, and then all the good news would start after that. So it'd be April 11th and onwards. That's what I said in my last video, but good news has come out. So I'll just go through it. So you can see the chart here, from all of last week. So mainly it's quiet, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is all quiet. It's up by a penny, down by a penny. We were having a laugh and a joke about that. There was someone who posted a GIF about a guy punching the guy, saying you got your 2 cents worth. So that's what was happening. There was no news. It was just flat. And then Thursday, it went up by 2%. On Friday, we're up by 3.56%. Right, now, all of this, why did this happen? Let's go through it. So we have the first article, which is the Forbes article. Basically, what they did was, when Ryzen 7 came out, there were a lot of games, 1080p games, that weren't running well. The processor was way behind Intel's processor. I mean, not on all games. On some games, it was ahead. It was good. But on some titles it was slower. So the reason for that, and AMD said this as well, and so did all the games manufacturers. They all said that it's due to optimization. So I think it was Ashes of the Singularity, that was one of the games, and they released the first optimization update, and they got a 30% increase in performance. So that's what happened. So it says AMD Ryzen 7 series processor shows significant performance gains with new software optimization. So this happened, and it's 30%. And this is only the first update on optimization. This isn't the final thing. So it's going to go forward, and it's going to get better from here onwards. So that was one thing that drove it up. That was on Thursday. I think this was the first one that came out. Then on Friday, so because of that, I think it went back up because people had renewed confidence, and they knew there's only 1 week left. So beyond that, there'll be good news and it'll go up. And the other thing was that people were talking about its end of the financial quarter. So I don't know what correlation that has. For us in the UK anyway, the end of the year is April 4th. So maybe there's some reason to, okay, let's make some profit. I think it would be a counter argument. You'd think, okay, let's leave the profits until next year, so you can include it in your next year's profits, because you've made enough this year and you're going to be taxed more. Or in my case, I'm going to be using my tax-free allowance. So again, if I can use my tax-free allowance starting on the 5th of April, which is for next year, and then I put my money in that, and then if I make profit, then it's not taxable, so it takes me out the tax altogether. So it makes good sense on that side. But I don't know, for the American markets, Americans were talking about it's end of the quarter, so there's going to be some kind of bump up in price. I don't know what correlation it has though. But anyway, the other article we had was this one. So Intel basically released more information on a new CPU design, and as you can see in the CPU design, you got CPU cores there, you got GPU imaging 10 nanometer. So this is a CPU is with a GPU built in, and this is where there was speculation that this is how AMD GPU silicon finds its way into Intel's processors. So he's saying Intel have just announced the future of the CPU design with the built around design will be built around the new embedded multi-die interconnect bridge, a technology which will allow chips from different generations to be stitched into the same package. So basically they're saying that because of this, AMD might find a way in. And there was a lot of talk about the Nvidia deal with Intel coming to an end, and that came to an end on March the 27th. And I remember listening to the earnings call for Nvidia, and the CEO did say, he said, that they were talking about how much money they're going to be making, and they said in the next quarter, not the first quarter, in the second quarter, they're going to make less money. I mean, they're going to make less money this quarter, but it's going to be even more significant the next quarter because they're no longer receiving the money from the licensing deal from Intel. So that told everyone that, look, the licensing deal is coming to an end, and he said it'll be on the 27th. But there was an argument that even though the licensing deal has come to an end, that they may continue using the intellectual property and keep using that. But then if they are, my argument was, if they are going to use that, then they will still have to pay Nvidia, right? And since Nvidia is saying that they're not going to get any more money from the IP side, then I can only assume that they're not going to be using it anymore. But that's all speculation. But the key thing is it's coming to an end, and because it's coming to an end, that leaves a window open for a deal with AMD. Now, people might think, oh well, why don't they just renew the deal with Nvidia? The issue there was that they had some argument with Nvidia, and there was a legal case over that, over Intel breaching Nvidia's intellectual property. So there was something that happened in the past. I forget what the full details were of that, but because of that situation, we have AMD now has the door open for them, for to make a deal with Intel, and if they do that, then we have the potential for licensing revenue, which means the share price will go up. So that was one of the stories why that came out on Friday, and I think that boosted it to some extent. And then we've got another article saying AMD stock will hit new highs. I also watch CNBC. Sometimes people say, well, they don't have any credibility, Jim Cramer and CNBC. But the way I argue that is, I say, it's not about whether I think they have credibility or not. The key thing is that a lot of people watch CNBC, and a lot of people who are not serious traders, who do not really do their own research to the full extent, what they'll do is they'll just watch CNBC and say, oh, Jim Cramer said the stock is good, let's buy the stock. I've seen that. I mean, last year Jim Cramer said buy Nvidia after the Trump elections, buy it and you'll make money. I didn't listen to him. I was skeptical. I thought maybe he wants us all to fall and there's going to be a correction, and then it happened. It went up by 26-28% in a day, which is crazy. I did get in on it. I made 10%, I think, at the time, but I thought I could have got all of that if I had just listened. But anyway, it's not, I realize it's not what I believe, it's what perception is. So when people have the perception that, yeah, these guys know what they're talking about and let's listen to them, then everyone's going to pile in and the stock's going to go up. So CNBC was saying that the breakout in AMD is genuine and we think it's going to go higher. They were saying the same about Micron Technologies as well, but Micron had good earnings. So I think AMD will also have good earnings. But I think there's just so much good news that you can't really ignore it. So we've done this, so we got the article out of the way. So what else was there? So let's see. So this is the day's trading. There was another aspect to this where there was the short interest. So I'm just looking at this article here, Z. So short interest, they said, went up huge. I think there's 1.6 billion in short interest. Now the issue with that was, even though there was huge short interest, at some point somebody started to sell a lot of the puts. They just got rid of them and start to buy calls, and we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of puts being sold, and then buying loads and loads of calls. So clearly somebody knew something, right? We don't know what that information was that that person knew, but they were doing that, and that made it onto CNBC, and then obviously it's like a snowball effect. People hear that, oh, hold on, someone's doing that, so let's jump on the bandwagon, and everyone jumps on. That was another aspect to it. So this is what's happened this week. So just click on this one, see what that is. Oh, that's rotten apples. So someone was arguing that maybe that the fundamentals don't support the price, that the price is going up. But this is where I make the argument that when people make these assumptions, when they look at the technicals, yes, it's information, it's not really an assumption, but they're looking at the past. That's what they're looking at. They can't predict how many sales of the Ryzen 7 CPU were made. They can't predict how much extra revenue was generated. They're not forward looking, so they're not taking that into account. And they argue that there's no fundamental basis, but it's the normal people, people who actually trade the stock or invest in the stock. They're looking at earnings. They're looking at where do we think on earnings, where do we think how much do we think the revenue is going to go up, how much profit is going to go up, and so on. And that's clear information, and based on that, if you invest, then you're okay, and we all think it's going to go up. We all think they're going to do well, so because of that. So if you're looking back, you're going to see doom and gloom. If you're looking forward, you see good things happening. It's not perfect. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but I am saying that there is a lot of positive. So because of that, I think it's a good buy, and stick at it. I've actually recommended to other people as well to put large chunks of cash in next week. So we're going to be looking at the end of next week, and try and put a big chunk of cash in at the end of next week, if not at the beginning. There's a little bit of rotation going on there where we're trying to take some money out, trying to see where we're making money and losing money. So if it can be done, we'll do it at the end of next week, and then put it in to AMD again, because April 11, good news starts, and it keeps rolling from there. The other thing was that Vega, they were saying there was somewhere I read where there was one of the employees at NVIDIA, I forget what it was, the chief operations manager, something like that, I forget. But he said that Vega will beat NVIDIA's GTX 1080 and 1080 Ti. It's already beaten the 1080. That's why they brought out the 1080 Ti. But there's a rumor that it could beat the 1080 Ti. So if that does happen, if it does beat it, then it's amazing. The stock is going to go sky high. But yeah, even with the rumor itself, it'll pump up the stock, at least up until the release of Vega. And again, I think that is another element, because people think Vega will be released in the second quarter. So second quarter starts today. So this is the second quarter. So January, February, March is first quarter. April, May, June is the second quarter. So within that time frame, it'll be launched. So people are thinking again, that's going to come out if it beats NVIDIA's graphics card. And even if it doesn't beat, to be honest, if it's between the GTX 1080 and 1080 and 1080 Ti, if it's in between that and it's priced well, I think it'll do well, and they'll take market share. So that's the update, guys. If you are in the stock, stay with it. I am. I'm gonna wait till it's at least between 18 and 20. I'm sticking with my theory that it goes up by 55% before it comes back down by 10-15%. So this time around, if it goes up by 55% in total, I'm expecting it'll be between $18 and $20 a share. When it gets to that point, then I'll be looking at selling out and coming back in when it's had a correction of 10-15%. And that's my strategy. So anyway, guys, thanks for checking me out. Hopefully you found this informative, and whether you did or you didn't, please like, subscribe and comment, and let me know if you didn't find it informative, and I'll try and improve it in the future. So good luck to all of you. On a side note, Tesla also had a great week. Elon Musk has had a great week this week. Just to mention that Tencent has bought a stake in Tesla, so that's why the stock price is up. But I don't expect it to be up for forever. I think it'll come down at some point, and I'm hoping by next year it'll be down. Then I can buy in. Anything below 200, I'll buy it. Another big thing was Elon Musk launched a rocket. It's the first rocket that's been reused. So it went into outer space, came back, landed on a launching pad. They then refurbished that and got it to launch again. And that's an amazing achievement. I think once they can do that again and again and again, I think the next step is now to reuse it within 24 hours. So it lands, they get it refurbished and get it launched within 24 hours. If that happens, then it's like airplanes. You can use the airplanes again and again. It's going to be the same thing, and it's amazing for our future, and I hope it works out, because it's good for everyone and good for the world. So anyway, guys, thanks for checking me out. Good luck, and see you next time. Out.